Okay, time for part 3 of the tutorial where we actually start doing our doily. So I've got my number 2 crochet thread here, and then I also have my 1.5 millimeter hook. Okay, and I have completed my pattern, which I changed from the last tutorial because I actually had a request for a custom doily. So I'll be making this for a family member who was ordered this from me. So I am going to be starting, and now I counted how high this is going to be because it's going to be a little bit different than the height of my other doilies because we've added this line down here for the for a date. So I counted, and this is actually needs to be 26 squares high, and that includes my total number of the height of all my letters and numbers plus 2 empty squares on the bottom and 2 empty squares on the top. Now, in my previous tutorial, I told you that the pattern that I based my previous doilies off of required a beginning chain of 66, which allows for 19 open spaces. Obviously, I need mine to be taller than that, so I added 3 chains for each additional space that I needed, which you can see over here that this is, so for 66 chains is 19. You just go up by 3 for every additional space that you need. So for my 26 spaces that I need, including 2 empty on top and 2 empty on bottom, I need 87 chains. So I personally, for this tutorial, will be doing 87 chains, but you can base what you want to do off of whatever size your letters are going to be. Now, even if I had not added these letters are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 high. So depending on the pattern of the font of the letters that you want, if I was just doing the letters here, I could have done the chain 66 and been left with the appropriate number of spaces. Now, the one thing that I don't like about the first doily I ever did based off of the chain 66 with 19 open spaces is my letters were 10 spaces high. So take off your 10 spaces for the letters. That only left 19. So I did not end up on that doily with an even number of spaces above and below the letters, which I don't like to this day, but you can adjust that. So say these are 16 spaces high and you want 2 below, so that would mean 20. You'd want 20 total boxes. So instead of 66 chains, you'd go up by 3 and do 69 chains for 20 open boxes, and that way you'll have 2 empty spaces above and 2 empty spaces below and end up with an even number. Okay, so I'm going to set my pattern to the side and I am going to begin my chains. So you start every pattern with a slip knot, which I believe I showed you how to do when we did our practicing with worsted weight yarn. So you start with a slip knot here, and then you just chain your appropriate number of chains. So mine is going to be 87, and trust me, you want to focus on counting while you're doing this because to go back and count accurately is very difficult. So I will not be talking while I chain because I don't want to go back and count. So you can do this along with me, or you can fast forward a little bit past when I'm doing my chains. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, I need 87, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. So there I have my full 87 chains. So this is actually a good look at about how tall that doily is going to be. And now this is without the border. So the border adds another inch around the whole thing. So from here on out, there's two ways that you can do it. Because I know that this doily, because it's so large, I recommended that she not do additional pattern ends. I recommended that she do this border all the way around. And that, that border, because of the border going around the two ends, the short ends, I like to do a solid column of double crochets as my start and my end, because that way there's a solid border all the way around the base of the doily, and then I add the fancy border around the edges. So there are two ways that you can do this. If you are going to be doing a border all the way around the doily, I would recommend doing a full column of double crochets like I am going to do. If you are not going to do a border, but you're going to add patterned ends onto these two short ends of the doily, I would recommend going and creating your open grids right away without doing the solid double crochet, because otherwise it'll make it look funny when you add the ends if you've got a double crochet row in there. So from here, I am going to do my first double crochet in the fourth stitch from my hook. So these are very small, so you got to be have good lighting and good eyes to see where your fourth stitch is. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, insert my hook, and do my first double crochet in that stitch. Now I am going to double crochet across the entire chain here, so that is going to take a little while. I am going to pause while I do that, simply because if you are doing it differently with your open grids, you can focus on doing that during this time. You can just pause the video, or you can take your time to go all the way across with your double crochets, and I will show you what that looks like once I get those all double crocheted.